LeBron James has been on an absolute tear as of late. As of the making of this video, he has had 7 straight games of scoring over 30 points per game, and over his last 5 games, he's been averaging more than 35 points. Honestly, it's really impressive, especially when you realize he's doing that at the age 37 in his 19th season. And with LeBron playing so amazing, it has led to the discussion of whether or not LeBron James should be considered more for the MVP. And in my opinion, I do think LeBron has a legitimate case for the MVP. That has led me to make this video where I'll just be discussing LeBron's case. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to help me reach my goal of 3,500 subscribers. Also, drop a comment on this video as I do respond to all of my comments. And play that intro. The biggest thing that is in LeBron's favor right now regarding the MVP race is his statistics, because right now LeBron is putting up numbers as good and as impressive as anyone else in the league. As at the making of this video, LeBron is averaging 29 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting 52% from the field and 37% from 3. Those are honestly some really impressive numbers, and in my opinion, also, the narrative is kind of in LeBron's favor, but I'm not gonna lie, after seeing LeBron play this amazing, I would have thought he would at least rank somewhere on the MVP ladder, but for some reason, he wasn't even ranked top 10 recently, and I think the biggest reason people would say for why he's not top 10 is because of his team's record. But when you think about it, Nikola Jokic is ranked top 5 in the MVP race, and his team is only 1 game above the Lakers in standings. But at the end of the day, it is LeBron James, and if LeBron gets some real and serious hype around his name for the MVP, he'll have as strong as a narrative as anyone, because the media kind of loves LeBron, but at the same time, sometimes they hate him. To be honest, so far this season, it seems like they hate him and they want people to think he's washed. But I think if a lot of people start thinking he's the MVP, he will get more hype surrounding his name and he'll go higher in the standings. And the thing a lot of people forget about the MVP is that if you want to win the MVP, you're going to have the media on your side, and you're going to have a lot of hype because they're the ones who are doing most of the voting. Something else about LeBron's case, kind of in his favor, is the fact that LeBron's team, the Lakers, do not have as good of a record as most other candidates. But if the team truly starts to win, I truly believe LeBron will definitely be a top 3 candidate, and I think he'll be more respected. And if I'm being honest, as the season goes on, I can't see the Lakers getting any worse than what they've been so far, which has been pretty disastrous. Meaning I'm confident that at some point this season, Lakers will go on a long winning streak and become a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. Another thing that's in LeBron's favor is the fact that he honestly might be the most valuable player to his team. When you think of the MVP award and you think of what it stands for, which is the most valuable player, LeBron actually might be that. Because without him, the Lakers are honestly and probably the worst team in the NBA. Or at least just one of the worst teams in the league. But when you look at the other candidates, I feel like their teams would at least be respectable or make the playoffs. Because what comes down to Steph and the Warriors, I think the Warriors without Steph would not make the playoffs, but they would be a team that I could see maybe compete for the 10th seed. Because if the San Antonio Spurs could be the 10th seed, I definitely think the Warriors without Steph could be the 10th seed. Also, if you take Kevin Durant off the Brooklyn Nets, I honestly see the Brooklyn Nets being a 6 or 7 seed in the Eastern Conference, because they have James Harden and a good supporting cast. The only guy in the NBA who I think might be just as important to his team as LeBron is Nikola Jokic, because if Jokic was not on the Denver Nuggets, they're for sure one of the worst teams in the league. So when it comes down to straight up who's the most valuable player to their team, it's either Jokic or LeBron. To be honest, you could say it's either of them. I won't really argue with you, but that definitely goes in their favor. But usually the MVP award is based on who's most valuable. I mean, it's not based on who's most valuable. It's just based on who puts up really good numbers on one of the better teams in the NBA. So this isn't a huge positive for LeBron, but it is a positive if you want to argue for the MVP. But to be honest, that's all the main positives I could think about when it comes to LeBron's MVP case. Now to talk about the things that are kind of holding him back from the MVP. When it comes down to the negatives of LeBron James' MVP case, there's literally only one main thing holding him back, and the sad thing is the thing that is holding him back is just way too important to ignore, and it's the fact that LeBron James' team, the Los Angeles Lakers, simply don't have a good enough record for him to win the MVP award. Especially when you realize that the top two candidates in Kevin Durant and Steph Curry are leading their teams to the best records in their respective conferences. It's kind of hard for LeBron to compete with that when you realize, but regardless, at the making of this video, they are not a high seed in the conference, and that's definitely hurting LeBron's case. It's not his fault at all that his team's below 500. He's playing amazing, but that definitely is not in his favor. Also, something that's not in his favor is the fact that LeBron had to miss 12 games so far this season, which is kind of a lot of games, seeing as the Lakers have only played 37 so far. And when you look at the other candidates, they haven't missed as much games as LeBron has, so that's definitely holding him back. But as the year goes on, and if LeBron can continue to not miss any more time and keep playing at the same level, it won't be as big of a deal, but definitely not a positive that he's missed more games than the other candidates. But yeah, those are two things that are not in LeBron's favor when it comes to the MVP discussion. To conclude the video, I don't think LeBron is the MVP at this current moment. You can't win the MVP when your team is a 7 seed and below 500. But what I will say is LeBron should definitely be top 10 in MVP voting. He should definitely be talked about more because he's honestly been playing like the best player in the NBA. And although his team record isn't amazing, you have to remember a guy in Steph Curry, who was someone who didn't even make the playoffs last year, was a guy who had a lot of people believing he was the MVP and that he got robbed. So I wonder why with LeBron people aren't even. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know whether or not you think LeBron's the MVP. Who's your MVP? Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want daily NBA content. Also, if you want to know over 3,000 subscribers, also drop a comment on this video. I do respond to all of my comments, and I'm out.